everyone. Welcome to Downtown Jets Live, where we're going to discuss this
Go.
interesting week one of the NFL season. With me now, I've got Dan Goldstein, who is my fellow contributor to Downtown Sports Network. Dan, how are we feeling today? How are we feeling after that loss?
That was not very pleasant or fun to watch. Almost pretty much from start to finish. Very few positives we can take away from that, which we'll go over here during the live stream.
Yeah, let's go do a breakdown of quarter by quarter, and right off the bat, the Jets get a penalty right off the kick on the kickoff return. A penalty right off the bat, which kind of set things in motion for basically the entire game. They get 3 and out in their first drive. Bills are driving on their first drive, and they give up a fumble to because Josh Allen does that.
Yeah.
But then the Jets go on a 3 and out and just kind of set things in motion for basically the rest of the game. Then the Bills score, get another 3 and out. It's just a snowball effect. So let's just go through the positives and negatives. Try to take away the positives and negatives from this game. Any positives from this, Dan, that you could think of?
I mean, right off the bat, Marcus May looked like an absolute all-pro all game long. I mean, he was spectacular pretty much in every facet. I think he gave up one long completion on that Dalton Knox there, I think, towards the end. I think it was in the fourth quarter. But other than that, he was absolutely stellar. I mean, he forced the fumble on Allen's on the Bills' first drive there.
Yep.
And had 2 sacks today, a forced fumble. He had a couple of pass defenses. I think he ended the day with 8 or 9 tackles. I mean, he was absolutely everywhere for the Jets today, and showed little to no drop off from Jamal Adams at that point too. Although I'm sure the Jets probably still would have been a little bit better had Adams and May both been back there playing like that, because apparently Adams in Seattle had himself a day too. So.
That's true. So May got a fumble. May picks up a fumble. 10 total tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 passes defended, and 2 quarterback hits, along with a forced fumble. So
I mean, if you started Marcus May in your IDP fantasy league, you probably already won.
Yeah. Yep. All I needed was an interception that would have wrapped things up for him in terms of that.
That really would have been it. An interception and a touchdown would have been about all more he could have done for us today.
Yeah, and the other guy who had himself an impressive game was Bless Austin. Austin had right in the first series, he had a couple tackles, had a couple big hits, had that second forced fumble on Josh Allen that turned into a touchdown for the Jets. So, it's
He also had a tackle for loss early in the game as well too. Bless Austin definitely looked like he belonged on the field. He definitely looked ready to go, ready to play, and him and May were about the only two that you could really say that about. Looking at if you go back and try and rewatch today, they were the only ones that kind of brought the heat and the energy. It was ugly from everybody else on the 53-man roster.
Yeah, I mean the defense had its moments. The one thing about the Jets I can say is that the defense doesn't give up. They don't give up at all, and even with all the stupid penalties they had, those 2 roughing the passer penalties, the one that Quentin Williams had, the inexplicable trying to tackle Allen at his ankles, and Terrell Basham's basically literally crowning Josh Allen with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah,
that led to a field goal, basically to sink that dagger in just a little bit more. Stupid penalties, they lengthen drives.
Yeah, and you're never going to win a game where you keep giving up penalties, especially on third down, especially when you're ready to go off the field and let your offense take another shot at building some rhythm and some continuity and put some points up on the board. You're just going to continually shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, I don't think there's any way to take more energy out of your sails than committing a penalty on third down or, a fourth down, allowing the offense to stay on the field and continue to just wear you down. And yeah, those penalties were killer. I mean, the pass rush today really struggled apart for a couple of plays there. I mean, there was the one sack by Marcus May, which was excellent.
Mhm.
But other than that, I saw little to no pass rush from Quinn Williams. I don't even know if Nate Shepard ever even made it onto the field. I don't recall ever seeing him out there. And Terrell Basham, I didn't see much from him either as well in this case today. So as expected, the Jets pass rush was indeed a big problem for the defense. And there was only so much that the secondary could do, who also, besides Bless Austin, was pretty much letting everybody just get open at will. I mean, in the first quarter, it was just ugly right from Jump Street. Like you said, in the offense with three, we started with 3 straight 3-and-outs. Went down 14-0 early. Darnold looked shaky. O-line looked weak. It was just bad. It was just really, really bad. Desir's pass interference was killer as well. I think, what was that,
he was
35, 40-yard penalty?
Yeah, he got benched. He got benched after that.
Yeah, well, we're still in the first quarter. We haven't got to that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a very ugly day. I mean, Josh Allen just really could have done whatever he wanted in the pocket. Multiple times he was standing there without somebody. I think there was a couple of plays there where I think he had 8 yards between him and anybody on the New York Jets anywhere near him. And it's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. You can't come in this unprepared from what it seems like. COVID or not, everybody had the same disadvantages. So.
And that was part of the problem, is that the Jets needed to keep Josh Allen in the pocket, make him try to throw at least 6 or 7 bad passes, and that didn't happen. Josh Allen basically had either all day to throw, or he was getting out of the pocket and gaining yards. I mean, he had 57 rushing yards. At one point, he had more yards rushing than the Jets had in yards in the entire first half.
Yeah.
And when your offense is not helping you when you're getting 3 consecutive 3-and-outs in your first 3 drives. Sam Darnold going 1 for 6 for literally 0 yards.
0 yards, ending the first quarter 2 of 8 for 9 yards, being outgained 123-23. 10-1 on first downs in the first quarter. It's just, I mean, you gave up 10 first downs in the first quarter alone. I mean, if that doesn't set the pace for what the rest of the game was going to be, I don't really know what else was. So, yeah, the first quarter definitely set the tone for what was to happen for the rest of the game. And then that was that. And then, moving into the second quarter as well, you could just see the Buffalo wide receivers just getting open at will. I mean, it's clear to me that they've predicated their offense to be built around route running. Beasley, Stephon Diggs, and John Brown are all crisp, quick, fast receivers that can stop on the dime. And they really showed their ability to do so against the Jets corners. And it was problematic right from the beginning.
Yep. And the Jets they get their first down with less than 2 minutes left in the quarter. Crowder drops what would have been another first down. The second and 7, 3rd and 8. Drops a sure first down. I mean, it looked like the pass was broken up, but he just straight up dropped it.
Yeah, there was just nothing. There was just really no positives about anything in the first half, except for the Jets turnovers that they were able to gain from Buffalo. Other than that, there's literally nothing you could say there. I mean, the Jets forgot their hands in New Jersey, apparently.
Yeah.
And you're just not going to win any games there. Buffalo was able just to do chunk plays on chunk plays. It seemed like every time Buffalo put the ball up, it was anywhere between an 8 to 15 yard gain. And then John Brown gets his wide receiver screen touchdown. Defense, you got a wide receiver screen, and I don't think anybody was within 4 to 5 yards of him the entire run.
He was untouched.
On a 17, I think it was a 17-yarder, 18-yarder. I mean, how are you not within 4 yards of the wide receiver, 18 yards out at the entire point of that run? I mean, it was just really bad. They got beat up, and they were just really sloppy, and then Quinnen with his offsides penalty to extend the drive, was really a killer there at that point too.
Yep.
You know, a lot of things are unacceptable, and we expect bigger things from Quinnen Williams than what we saw today. But if this is the Quinnen Williams we're going to get, you know, the bus chances are going to start talking, you know, midway through the season, and it's not something we want to see for what we see. We need a hell of a lot more out of him if we're going to even try and be competitive moving forward.
Yeah, we go to the second quarter and things just kind of get worse from there. Get that fourth down conversion on 4th and 1. Another penalty leads to a first down for the Bills on 3rd and 5. That was a Quinnen Williams offside penalty, which leads to that John Brown going untouched on a wide receiver screen for 17 yards.
Yeah.
And then the next drive, delay of game penalty. Oh my gosh. A delay of game penalty with no fans in the stands.
On first down.
After a kickoff.
I mean, you got the ball. How is it so? There's no fans in the stands. It's first down. You should have your play set in stone, ready to go before your offense is even getting ready to take the field. I mean, Sam and Gase should have been in each other's ear. How do you want to attack this next thing? And they should have had their next 2 to 3 plays already lined up. The delay game penalty on first down in an empty stadium. I mean, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Unacceptable.
Disgusting. And then they gave up, giving up the sack to Trent Murphy was just a killer. And then Sam, I mean, a third-year quarterback should not be making throws and decisions like what he did on his interception.
No, and the triple coverage, no less.
Yeah, it was just a lob throw and triple coverage. I mean, you're a third-year quarterback. You want to do that your rookie year, even a little bit of your second year, that's fine. That's got to end now. That's got to end now. That should not be happening as a third-year quarterback if you're going to be expected to take the leap. The fact that he did that really shows that there's still some things he needs to learn.
Yeah, and Bills get the ball back. They're driving down the field, and then Josh Allen gives up another fumble. This time it's Bless Austin getting the fumble and recovering the fumble. Yeah. So he had a pretty good game too. I mean, we got touched on that before. Bless Austin having a pretty decent game, and then just drive down the field at that long pass to Le'Veon Bell on the first down.
Beautiful throw.
Great throw. Great pattern by Bell too. And then we'll talk about him in just a second. Driving on the field, and they've burned. And here's another thing: clock management. They have the worst clock. Clock management it's from hell. It's from hell. That's where it's come from. They burned 3 timeouts on 4 plays. 4 plays. They burned all 3 timeouts.
Just terribly unacceptable, and and that really costed them moving there, because then they had to play for the field goal instead of being able to try and put up a touchdown to make the game hopefully a little bit closer and swing some of the favor in the Jets in the Jets, because Buffalo was going to be able to get the ball to start the second half. So it was there was a whole lot. I mean, if we go back and rewatch, I'm sure there's a lot we even missed. Just because you're trying to watch everything in real time. But if, we could watch the all 22 film, I imagine there's a lot that we saw behind the scenes that just showed just how undisciplined and not ready they were to actually take the field here. And seemed like all the training camp reports about how bad the offense looked came absolutely true. I mean, there was nothing good about it. And then Pierre Desir getting benched after his long pass interference penalty and letting up. I think he got benched after going 3 for 3 for 49 yards, I think is what it was. So
he was getting lit up, and Greg Williams said that's enough.
He was getting. I mean, you're supposed to be the CB1 that's had success in this league, knows how to play press coverage, and you're benched halfway through your second quarter. And I don't think he played another snap the rest of the game. I mean, it's going to be very problematic. It's going to be very problematic.
Yeah, and the one thing we forgot to talk about there, Dan, was Blake Cashman going down with an injury, and the Jets were already thin at inside linebacker in the first place. You had to bring in Frankie? Was it not Luvu, but Harvey Lange, who had to play pretty much the entire game from there on out, and with Williamson already being out and Cashman going down, having Lange play the rest of the game, it was not that anything. He didn't have it. There wasn't his fault. A lot of these plays, but it just tells you that depth at linebacker is going to be worrisome. And then you probably have to bring in James Burgess from the practice squad, just to kind of, if Blake Cashman's injury is going to go longer than a couple weeks.
Yeah, I imagine Cashman and Bell will both be going in for MRIs later today or tomorrow to determine the severity. Bell with his hamstring and Cashman with his groin. So we'll have to see, where that ends up. At the end of the second half, though, at the end of the first half, we were being outgained 223 to 102. And all our yards were almost on that final drive. I think we picked up 68 yards on that final drive there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that just shows you just how bad it was. Jets had no sacks, but at that point, both what I thought were sacks turned into tackles for loss instead, because I guess they determined Allen was already running.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't get any, unfortunately, we didn't get any sacks on that. But there's the first half left a lot to be desired. The Buffalo screen game was essentially getting 12 to 17 yards at will. The Jets bit on, seems like every play fake that the Bills threw at them. They were just really undisciplined, and it really looked like they lacked in the understanding of what Buffalo was going to try and do, and really just within what their teammates were going to do,
Yeah, and I was hoping that Gase would get a little bit aggressive, especially towards the end of that last drive, where they could at least take a shot at the end zone for at least for one play. But he decides to opt for the field goal. Classic Gase, and that's
so
what kills me. Yeah,
it's
and this
so
what
aggravating.
Yeah,
it just looks like you're giving up already.
Yeah.
It literally felt like you're just giving up already. There is absolutely no reason by that juncture you should be playing for 3 points. You have no momentum. You have no energy. You need to go ham. You need to go hard. You need to show this is a different Jets team. And instead, you played like the bitch in it, and we look like it too.
Yeah, I mean, think about the water boy. He's Coach Klein. He's Coach Klein. I don't want to say bad. I want to give him a chance. I know he's an unpopular guy. He was not the first guy that the Jets wanted, but I'm starting to wonder if he's turned to Coach Klein from the water boy, and he's just afraid to go for. He sticks to his script, and I tweeted this out on the Downtown Jets Twitter page. It's like, yeah, you're down 21-0, and you're going by your script. Yeah, keep going by your script. Don't make any adjustments. Just keep going by your script. And I know you're a professional. You're a head football coach for a reason, and I'm sitting here at home breaking down your mistakes. There's a reason for that, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you got to take some chances.
You got it. You have to. You have to try and inject. You have to try and inject life into the team, and by that point, they already felt deflated, and it showed. It really just kind of showed the whole rest of the game. The defense brought what energy they could, but the offense just had nothing going for them. Wide receivers, it just looked like they were running out of molasses, forgot how to catch the ball. Just where the hell was Chris Herndon? Like, what was going on there? Like, the middle of the field, like you had the middle. I don't recall Sam really taking any shots down the middle of the field in the intermediate to deep range. Where was any of that at all? It was just pathetic. It was just a pathetic first half showing in every facet. And, they can really thank garbage time in the second half for pretty much any and all their stats there at that point.
Yeah. All right, we'll move up to the third quarter. The defense starts with a 3-and-out. May gets his first full career sack on Josh Allen. Figured it's good momentum, and
it was a beautiful play call by Greg Williams.
Yeah, that's the one saving grace I think for the Jets this season is Greg Williams making those play calls on defense. And then Jets get their the ball back. They try to make something happen, and they give up a sack on 3rd and long. They give up 3 sacks for the day.
3, yeah, I think so. I think it was 3 or 4 sacks depending on what it was. They continued to play passive. They showed no adjustment coming out of halftime. They played scared. They played passive. They played safe, and there was nothing to do it. I tell you what, the interior O-line looks terrible. I don't think Lewis, McGovern, or Van Rotten had anything positive you can say about their games there, especially Greg Van Routen. he looked atrocious. It looked like he was giving up pressure almost all day, getting pushed into the backfield. He did not look like he needs to be starting on an NFL offensive line at all. And being that he is our starter, if this is what's to come, it's going to be a very long season.
So, who would you put in? Would you put in McDermott? Would you put in?
Well, that's the problem. We don't even have anybody we could turn around and put in. McDermott, we don't know much about Connor McDermott, honestly, from a player standpoint. But I imagine he's depth for a reason, because he's not even good enough to take out Alex Lewis or GVR, which isn't good. And our rookie Cam Clark is a 4th-round rookie at a small school, Charlotte, who's also hurt.
He's on IR, yeah.
Today. So, what are you going to do? You really just kind of, with the way this Jets roster is built, you just kind of have to trot them out and hope that they just somehow figure it out.
Yeah.
But today they didn't have it. Today they didn't have it. They were getting killed in that guard. They were just undisciplined. You couldn't even describe how just undisciplined they were from an offensive standpoint today. It really was just really bad. It was just awful. It was just awful watching the offensive line. Becton had some good and some bad. He definitely struggled with the speed of the edges coming for Buffalo, but at the same time also did a really great job in stopping them in their tracks as well. So it was somewhat positive to me for Becton of a game. He had some, like you said, he had his ups and downs. So I would grade him probably right around average for his performance, but probably everybody else I would say was below average today in what they showed.
Yeah, I mean, for an offensive line, you don't get your name known because the only time you really get your name pronounced is there's a penalty. I didn't notice many penalties in the offensive line. I guess it's a good thing. But like you said, Danny, they had no push on the pass rush. They had their moments in with the rush with run blocking, but I was hopeful that they would at least try to get the run game going. But in a primary passing offense, it's not going to happen, unfortunately, and that kind of showed. So
it can't be a primary passing offense though when your wide receivers can't get open. So you kind of gotta pivot a little bit here and try and see if you can develop something to open up the field a little bit more. And never happened. I think Bell averaged under 2.5 yards a carry before he went down. Frank Gore averaged, I think, a respectable 4.3, which for a 37-year-old is stellar. But for an NFL offense, you certainly want to be up somewhere upwards in more of the 4.6 to the 5.0 range. That really shows that you're chunking out, and that's what we didn't see. We didn't see those chunk plays today from the Jets at all. You take away the Crowder touchdown, and I would imagine the longest play was that Bell catch, and then after that, I don't know of any other play I think that went for more than like 12 yards.
Yeah, looking further to the third quarter, the defense keeps lengthening Bills' drives, doing the Bills' offense a favor with stupid penalties, and that's that Quinn Williams roughing the passer penalty was trying to tackle Josh Allen at his ankles.
Yeah.
But then Marcus May gets another sack, and this drove me absolutely up a wall. So Tyler Bass, from rookie kicker from the Bills, kicks a field goal. It's no good. But CBS, they kept going to this like Zapruder film breakdown of whether or not that field goal was a missed field goal. And they kept going. They kept harping on it for like the next 3 drives. It's like, was this a missed field goal? Was it a good field goal? Technically, and the announcer, whoever it was, I can't remember who it was, the play-by-play guy, he kept harping and saying, well, he's 1 for 3 today, but technically he should be 2 for 3. And it's like, come on, shut up. Move on. Let's go on.
I was at a bar, and being that I'm in South Florida, the Dolphins takes precedence, so I didn't get to hear any of it. I only could watch closed captioning. So, but between the trying to read closed captioning and write down my notes and do my Twitter that I tried to do as much of as possible today during the game, I just, I couldn't keep up with what they were talking about as far as that goes. But yeah,
save your sanity. Don't bother.
It's called, I bet. Yeah. It's called a miss. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. Move on. You can't review it. Do what you got to do. Yeah. That roughing the passer on, Q was just absolutely killer. And then you really just saw the Bills trying to control the clock. I mean, then at that point there, they did a lot of running, just try and weigh everything down to try and build up the score some more. And luckily the Jets D held up in the red zone on that one, and they were able to just allow the field goal to keep it a 2-score game.
No, well, but before that, we had the touchdown with the touchdown. Yeah, but then we had a touchdown by Jamison Crowder, which seemed to get things going for the Jets. That 69-yard touchdown, nice. For the catch and pass when the Bills defenders aren't tackling, and he gone. 69 yards later, extra point. Jets are still in it somehow. Somehow the Jets kept in it.
Somehow, yeah, it was just an absolute miracle that was able to happen. But yeah, what are you gonna do? And then to end the third quarter for Sam Darnold to run out of bounds for a 5-yard loss instead of throwing it away.
Throw it away.
It's that kind of stuff that just it puckers your butthole, man. It really does. It's just you can't. You cringe. You cringe at.
Yeah, I was yelling at him I was yelling at my TV like, get rid of it, and he just runs out of bounds.
Oh, it was just the people at the other table told me to stop yelling.
You're in a bar.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, they're Lions fans. What do they know?
That's part of the problem is the Lions fans yelling. Why do you have Lions fans yelling at you?
Yeah, they're telling me to be quiet because I'm a very passionate fan when I watch the game. So I tend to get very colorful with my language when things are going not well. And I think by that point they'd kind of heard enough from me.
Well, the Jets didn't blow a 21-point lead, so let's just put a cap up to Mitch Trubisky and the Bears. For God's sake, come on.
I haven't really read much about the other games, so I'm intrigued to see how that happened.
Yeah, the Lions were up by a bunch, and all of a sudden the Bears, they came back and went up winning the game.
Wow, Mr.
And the Lions had a chance to win that game too, but I guess there's a drop pass in the end zone with less than a minute left, and that's what happens.
Oh, Mitch Trubisky, the truth, huh?
Well, this time around, next week it'll probably be a different story.
Yeah.
So the defense still continued to do the Bills' offense favors. Another missed field goal by the Bills, and then the dagger. Chris Herndon fumbles a pass for the first time. Hearing from him for the first time today, catches a quick pass, fumbles the ball, goes to the Bills. Bills go and kick a field goal.
And iced it. And essentially, that was when you knew there was no coming back.
Yep.
Yeah. I just, to be non-existent to that point, and then you're literally your first touch on the game. I mean, you have it, and still you can argue if that was even a catch or not. It's questionable at best, but
I saw a bobble.
I did too, but to go and that's the cat. It's Marble.
Yeah, it's okay. I was like, what is that animal?
That's Marble Kitty. It's just that to be that your one and only touch of the game. I mean, I really, if I'm in the media room for the Gase press conference, all my questions are essentially worded around what the hell happened to Chris Herndon all day. I'm going to ask that to Gase about 4 different ways to try and get an answer as to where the hell was Chris Herndon all day. All we heard was the chemistry between Darnold and Herndon. Herndon's completely healthy. Herndon looks ready to ball out. Herndon looks ready to beast out. They're going to feature the shit out of Herndon, and nothing. So, there's just so many things that are just inexcusable.
Yeah, I think he had 3 catches for 20-something yards.
Did he even end with that much?
Well, in garbage time. That's when they started to catch fire.
Yeah. Is that when did he end with that much? I don't know. At that point, I was still reviewing my notes and preparing my article. So I wasn't
preparing the Manish Mehta like screed that you're going to write for the summary.
Yeah, for real.
Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
Yeah. It was just and then Bills again. Still looking at my notes here. You saw the Bills had essentially abandoned the run. The pass was just working so well for them that they were just chunking out plays and allowing the clock just to go down, down, and down. The O-line struggled all day long. The roughing the passer on Terrell Basham again showed a problem there. And it was just really today, a lot of it was the penalties in the offense that really just buried the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jets play this, I noticed on their Twitter account for Downtown Jets, I said if the Jets play this way next week to the Niners, they'll lose by 50.
They'll lose by a lot worse than what they did against the Bills today, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know how healthy Nick Bosa is, though, so hopefully he's not in to give Becton a little bit of a fighting chance. But if Bosa's healthy, I mean, he's gonna kick the ever-loving crap out of Becton and Fant, and it's gonna be – I imagine that'll be another game that'll be ugly quick if the O-line can't gel.
Well, these cross-country trips for West Coast teams can be a bit of a bother, so you never know. I mean, they're playing right now. I thought the game was going to be postponed, but in California where they're having all those wildfires, but it looks like they're playing. They're up right now, 10-7. So, yeah. So here's the final stats for the Jets. Sam Darnold, 21 of 35, 215 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, sacked 3 times, QBR of 75.3.
That sounds generous.
What?
A 75 QBR sounds very generous.
Yeah.
On a scale of 100 for what that is, I mean, but you take out the 69-yard touchdown, and he threw for 150 yards on over 40 throws and 0 touchdowns. I mean, inexcusable. I can't see how he had a 75 QBR. But then again, ESPN's QBR never really made any sense anyway. So
yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah. All right, rushing for the Jets. Frank Gore, six touches for 24 yards. Le'Veon Bell, 6 carries for 24 yards. 6 carries for Le'Veon Bell, 14 yards. Josh Adams scores his first NFL touchdown in garbage time. So overall, 52 rushing yards for a team that we hoped would open up the run. They didn't.
No. Yeah, Gase is – I don't know where the offensive mastermind came in with Adam Gase here, but that's now going on, I think, 2 years for the Jets and about 4 years in a row where his offenses look like absolute crap, going back to his days with the Dolphins too. His last 2 years in Miami were terrible on offense. His first year here was arguably worse in the NFL, and I imagine today we have to be ranking. I mean, again, I don't know what the other teams have done and what other teams will do, but I got to imagine we got to be in the bottom 3 after the week 1 games are over too, and as far as offensive efficiency and ability. Well,
no, I don't know about that. The Browns got their behind spanked by the by the Ravens.
That's not surprising, no.
Baker Mayfield, 189 yards. I mean, Cleveland overall rushing, they had 138, but Baker Mayfield just did not look like he should be. And that's the Browns is going to depend on their season's going to depend on how he does.
Yeah, very much so.
That's why I put in the downtown Jets page. I said, well, at least we're not the Browns.
Yeah. And I saw Fitzpatrick also did quite terrible today too against New England.
Picks. Three picks. Oh, he was 1 away from getting pulled for Tua.
Yeah, three picks for Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the Dolphins dropped the game there. So who knows? Maybe I guess Sam Darnold wasn't the worst quarterback on the field for week 1, but I don't know. You could certainly say Adam Gase was probably the worst coach for week 1, though. Could certainly make that argument.
Kevin Stefanski could give you a run for their money, but anywho. But that's neither here nor there. We're looking for we'll see what happens next week when the Niners come to town. We'll do another podcast. We'll do a preview this week. Might have a friend from the Niners side come on board with us, Dan. So we'll I'll do some. I got some networking I can do. We'll work things out to see if we can ask them pepper them with a bunch of questions, and
more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up here, folks. Thanks for joining us. For the one of you who was watching, it's probably me on my cell phone just to see what the quality looks like. But we'll have another live show next week after the Niners game. We'll have another podcast this week. We'll do some article write-ups. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Check out all articles and everything coming about. Absolutely. Twitter, Facebook, Downtown Sports Network, Downtown Jets. You can find me at DTSN Jets Dan.
Yep.
And you can see Ryan's handle there, who is Ryan MCC.
Yep.
I'll be live. I'll be Twittering live each and every game. I'll be writing articles throughout the week as well. So send in questions, comments, concerns, criticisms.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do, just help us. Help us get engaged.
Yep. Help us grow.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. Thanks again for. All right. We'll see you. Well, listen in later this week. We'll probably put this on a podcast for the wrap-up show. But we'll do another podcast this week to preview the Niners game. So thanks for joining us.